I'm still dissecting the Biden CNN clown hall meeting. I guess you could say I'm like scrubbing bubbles. I wade through copious amounts of BS so you don't have to.
We work hard so you don't have to.
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
I'm not going nuts.
Okay.
People ask how an old codger like me stays in shape. The fact is, 80% of being healthy is what you cram or don't cram into your pie hole. You've probably already heard of the ketogenic or keto diet. To sum it up, it's a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet that forces your body to burn fat rather than the glucose or simple sugars that so many people are addicted to. The bottom line is, this kind of diet works. And I use Keto Elevate because it's specifically designed to help quickly and efficiently raise your ketone levels so you can reap the major benefits of the keto diet lifestyle. And guys, this isn't just an ad. This stuff really works. Use my link in the description, ketowithflix.com, and get 51% off while supplies last.
Let me go ahead and play this. We already know what Joe Biden's position is on firearms. We know that he's against them. We know that it's not just, they're not just gunning for AR-15s and AK-47s, pun intended. They're not just gunning for the long rifles, the scary black AR-15s that belong on the battlefield and all that kind of stuff. They don't want you to be armed, period. They want this to be New Zealand, Australian style, gun buyback, confiscation program. Listen to this.
So how will you address gun violence from a federal point of view to actually bring about change and make our local cities safer?
Now, I'm not being a wise guy. There's no reason you should. Have you seen my gun violence legislation I've introduced? As you know, because you're so involved, actually crime is down. Gun violence and murder rates are up. Guns. I'm the only guy that ever got past legislation.
That is called classic euphemism, employing euphemisms to vilify inanimate objects. There is no such thing, and we have to say it often. There's no such thing as inanimate object violence. So if that's true, because inanimate objects don't just jump off the shelf and commit violence, people do that. People use tools. People use inanimate objects and use coffee cups and bang people over the head and harm them. He just employed euphemistic terminology, and that's why I always say politics is nothing more, nothing less than the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and demanding the chains of their own enslavement. Those euphemisms, they're not even, there's no truth behind them. Gun violence, it's people committing violence. Drug laws or drug wars, it's not a war on drugs, it's a war on people. War on terror, it's not a war on terror, it's a war on your own countrymen. These euphemisms make this pill easy to swallow for the masses. So this guy is trying to vilify an inanimate object so he can actually pursue you who possess that inanimate object. And if they can make that inanimate object illegal, then they can criminalize people who aren't criminals. It's all fiction. That's like Bastiat said, the state is that great fiction. The government is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. And that's what politicians do. That's their job. They're there to lie to you. How is it that they still in 2021 have a spotlight and have our ears? Nobody should be paying attention to these bozos and yahoos. We should eliminated them a long time ago. And by eliminate, I'm not talking about foisting violence. I'm just talking about firing them. We don't need you anymore. You're getting us into debt. You're getting us into trouble with other countries. You're increasing the coffers of the military-industrial complex. You're dropping bombs. You're killing people in our name.
When I was a senator, to make sure we eliminated assault weapons. The idea you need a weapon that can have the ability to fire 20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things, but I'm not likely to get that done in the near term. So here's what I've done.
To push The elimination of the sales of those things. In other words, he wants to ban them. When you ban an inanimate object, what you're really doing is criminalizing those who want to buy that inanimate object or currently possess that inanimate object. So don't call it a ban. You should never call something a ban. Trump should have never called it a bump stock ban. What is it? It's criminalize everyone who has a bump stock. In other words, we, the government, have declared you a criminal, even though you didn't commit a crime. We say you did. So if we catch you with one of those things, you're going to jail. We're going to take away 100% of your freedoms. What is that called? That's called tyranny. It's called tyranny. That's the definition. That's the practical application and definition of tyranny.
The people who, in fact, are using those weapons are acquiring them illegally. Illegally. And so what happens is, I've gotten ATF.
There's no such thing as legality and illegality. It's a construct of the mind. They want you to believe it. They want you to believe that they're the gods who can declare what is legal and what is not. And if you own it, the thing that we banned, then it's illegal and you're a criminal and we have the right to punish you. So what do? They say we have the moral right to rule you, to ban things, to criminalize you, and you have the moral obligation to obey our rulership or you will be, in their minds, rightly punished. So they, the criminals, actually treat you who are not a criminal as a criminal while they engage in their criminal operations.
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I have them increase their budget and increase their capacity along with...
So if you increase the budget of an alphabet soup federal agency like the ATF, and he said it right this time. He didn't say AFT like he always does, but like the ATF, what he's basically saying is, not only do I want to vilify you if you hold in your possession an inanimate object that we don't want you to have, but I'm also going to steal a boatload of loot from you so that I can help this alphabet soup agency be more empowered to come against you. Because guys, when we get economically raped and ruined by these political parasitic psychopaths, we lose our wealth, we lose our power, they gain in wealth and they gain in power, and an increased power of the state never, ever historically works out well for the people.
The Justice Department to go after the gun shops that are not abiding by the law of doing background checks.
So now he's gunning for American businesses who just want to engage in mutually exclusive, mutually consensual business transactions. Hey, do you want this firearm? Do you want this inanimate object? Do you want this high capacity magazine that they, as they call it? Yes, I would like that. Okay, this is $250. Hey, I have $250 that I want to give you. Hey, I have an inanimate object that I want to give you. So what he's doing is gunning, pun intended, for small businesses, gun shops. They're forcing these gun shops to perform a certain way and to conduct the order of their business in a particular way. Just, it's evil, 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 evil.
For real, that's number one. Number two, we're in a position...
Number two, come on, man, there's a number two somewhere. And if it's not, I'll just borrow from number one and create a number two. Come on, man.
Most of the cities, and I don't know enough, I think you've had a lot of gun violence here in Cincinnati. I think there was up to what? How many dead? 500 over a period?
He still hasn't gotten to number two. Guys, I have not seen this far into the video yet. He went number one, now he's on number two, and he still hasn't gotten to number two. I think he forgot. Let's see.
Along with the Justice Department, to go after the gun shops that are not abiding by the law of doing background checks.
Number one.
For real, that's number one.
Number one, go after gun shops, okay.
Number two, we're in a position where most of the cities, and I don't know enough, I think you've had a lot of gun violence here in Cincinnati. I think there was up to what? How many dead? 500 over a period? Don't hold me to the number, whatever it was. But my point is, all across the country. And it's not because the gun shops in the cities are selling these guns. They are either shadow gun dealers and or gun shops that are not abiding by the law.
He's borrowing from number one.
So we're going to do major investigations and shut those guys down and put some of them in jail.
There is no number two. It's just number one. His number two strongly borrows from number one to manufacture number two because he already locked himself into, hey, there's a number two.
For what they're doing, selling these weapons. There's also a thing called ghost guns
He still didn't deal with the number 2.
that are being sold now and being used.
Ghost guns. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? That means they're unregistered. They don't have a serial number. And gosh, we have got to keep up with who's got what because we're the government and we're all about control.
And so, but in addition to that, what we have to do is we have to deal with the larger problem of the whole issue of law enforcement generally. We're in a situation where, as much as we need to pass the Floyd Act and all that, but here's the deal.
As much as we need to pass the over the land of the free, the thing. We just got to pass the thing. Man,
Cops are having real trouble. They're not all bad guys.
I guess we're going to be entertained to the gallows. I mean, before they load us up on the boxcar, we're going to be heavily entertained by this 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week circus performance.
Guys, there are a lot of good guys. We need more policemen, not fewer policemen. But we need them involved in community policing. Community policing. And when we did that, violent crime went down. All the criticism about the original crime bill, guess what? Yeah. Crime went down until we stopped doing community policing. So it's about getting...
Donald Lemon was like, yeah, don't come near me. I mean, like you're putting your old man white hand toward me. I'm a black man. And Don Lemon's like, do you realize that the biggest terror threat in America today is white men radicalized to the right?
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
We have availability now of over lots of money for cops to be able to hire psychologists, psychiatrists, as well as social workers to be engaged in the process.
There's got to be an applause sign. There's got to be an applause sign because let me show you something here, guys. Let me show you. I'm not going to go over this whole thing. This is a 34-minute video, and this is just part 1. But I want to show you the introduction of this Biden Clown Hall meeting, and I want to show you how uncomfortable it was. Here, before I play, I want to show you how uncomfortable it was. The applause sign must have got stuck or something, and they must have told the audience before they went live that, hey, listen, when the applause sign is on, keep on applauding. Don't stop applauding until the applause sign goes off. But watch how uncomfortable and long this applause is. Even going on into what Don Lemon was saying. Listen to this. So funny. So freaking funny. It's an applause track. It could be sliding into it.
Good evening, everyone.
Listen.
Live in Cincinnati, Ohio tonight on the campus of Mount St. Joseph University, overlooking the Ohio River. This is a CNN town hall with the President of the United States, Joe Biden. I'm Don Lemon. President Biden is 6 months into his presidency.
It's still going.
A critical moment for his agenda. Nearly half of the U.S. population is now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But the pace of the vaccination is at its lowest point since...
It is still going, guys. It's still going. He's already, 3 sentences into his little monologue here, and they're still applauding. This is hilarious. It's like, okay, the sign's still on. The sign's still, I know Donald Lemon is still talking, but God, the signs are still on, and they told us not to stop applauding until the sign goes off. I'm just going to do what I said because I'm a compliant one, man. If they told us to wear a mask, double, triple, quadruple, I don't care what it is, but the sign's still on. I know he's talking. It doesn't make any sense. Look.
January, and the highly infectious Delta variant is driving a new COVID surge in all 50 states.
They couldn't even get the applause button right, man. These bunch of yahoos. These are oh, behold your overlord. It's like, I don't want him to rule me. Gosh, can't you get somebody that looks like they're halfway non-nitwitted to rule over me?
Baggy pants and the nitwits.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing. I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
Baggy pants and the nitwits.
I propose, and I'm going to digress slightly. We're in a situation. Well, folks, eliminate one tax loophole out of $1.6 trillion worth. $1.4 trillion worth.
Baggy pants and the nitwits.
Out of $1.4 billion. It's hard to even say it. It's so much. Now he's feeling the pressure of an economy that's teetering on a recession.
If you haven't done so already, I have a backup channel called Grease Monkey Videos. I'm going to be uploading content here that you will not see on this High Impact Flicks channel. Also, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflicks.com. If you want to support the channel, one of the best things you can do is like and share this video with everybody you know, everywhere you can on social media. If you want to support further, the Patreon, PayPal, Bitcoin, and Subscribestar links are in the description and the pinned comment. And if you want to support further, you can grab a hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirt from the shirt store. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.